Alrighty, welcome ladies and gentlemen of the jury. You are here today to serve as instruments of justice. You've been brought here to decide the fate and potentially punishment of the defendant, Yuji Itadori. This young man is being presented to you by the prosecution as a monster, as a mass murderer, as an intentional killer, hell-bent on causing as much destruction and death as he possibly can. They will attempt to paint a picture of this boy, this child, as no longer human, as something worse. We of the defense have a different story to tell you. We have a story of corruption, a story of a conspiracy, wide-reaching, that reaches all the way up to the highest levels of government and to the world of Jujutsu sorcery itself. This conspiracy contains generational trauma, parents forcing their children into terrible circumstances, and then forcing those children to take credit for the actions that they've committed under duress. Yuji Itadori was not only not responsible for the actions in Shibuya, he was there actively to stop it. Over the course of his life, he has done nothing but attempt to help and save his friends. The prosecution will present Yuji Itadori as a monster, as a bad person, or potentially as not even a person at all. We have a different case. Yuji Itadori is a boy who's dealing with terrible circumstances. Circumstances he's been thrust into by people in positions of power. Circumstances he has had no control over. Circumstances that he has actively fought against. And at the end of this trial, we will ask that you consider all of the evidence and return to us with the only verdict that can possibly serve justice in this case. Yes, a great justice has been done. Yes, many lives and much property were destroyed. Do not compound this injustice further by sentencing an innocent boy, a child, to punishment of which he is not deserving. Okay, I'm gonna take this suit jacket off because it's real freaking hot in here, and I gotta get it. I did it. Okay, I did it. I did the little spiel thing at the beginning. I did my little joke, and we're ready to go. Welcome, everyone. I'm Teeaboo. Spiel notwithstanding, we're here for a trial, and I'm pretty excited. The build-up into this has been primo. We might have two fights going on here, or we might center down and focus in on the Higuruma fight. Honestly, either way we play it, I'm going to be really excited for what we're going to have here. And if we manage to keep with some of the green-red insanity color scheme stuff, man, that's going to be cool. I don't know what this fight is going to consist of. If it ends up being like a psychological legal battle instead of like a battle, I think that would be really cool. It'd be very different than a lot of things that we've had in JJK so far. And it might be kind of like the perfect end cap on the walking and talking scenes and episodes that we've had for the last couple, to have an episode where the fight is walking and talking. I don't really know. I have no idea what to expect from this next episode, except that it's probably going to be a banger. Because it's Jujutsu Kaisen, guys. Like, I know what show I'm watching. I know what the build-up to this felt like. I'm excited. If we do turn our attention to Reggie, I just want to mention that somebody pointed out to me that Reggie and Reiji are basically homophones, and Reiji is the word for receipts, which makes sense why he's wearing a bajillion receipts. Guy is going to get hormonal disturbances. The bisphenols in receipt paper are no joke, and they will get through your skin. So Reggie's gonna have trouble with that. I don't know what it'll fucking do to him, but it might mess up his day a little bit. I don't think so. I think I'm losing track. Okay. But the main focus of this episode has got to be Higuruma. It's got to be Yuji and Higuruma facing off against each other, and I'm really curious how much this is going to do to unpack Yuji, to dig into his trauma and fear and guilt. Like, Yuji thinks he's guilty. I think he would declare himself guilty in trial. So if he's going to go to trial under a stand, this is a stand, Hail to You, Judgement stand, that is probably going to be able to tell the truth and probably going to auto-sentence him to the guillotine if he lies or anything like that. I don't know if Yuji's going to survive this. Like, obviously he will, but I don't know how. That's the real question. This seems like bad. Seems like an extremely bad time for him, and that we've been turn one domain expansioned, sucked into this place, and I don't think Yuji has a way out of it other than following the rules of whatever game Higuruma sets out. Spooky. My sincerest hope is that it's awesome looking, But beyond that, that it unpacks Yuji a little bit, that we dig in a little bit by accusing him outright of being guilty of some terrible crime. We get to dig into his own feelings of guilt about the things that he's been involved in and get some interesting direct statements and a direct window into Yuji's perspective on these things and how he sort of justifies moving forward, how he's dealing with his regret, guilt, shame, remorse, as I've talked about in a couple of episodes prior. How will that come to the forefront when he's on the witness stand or being cross-examined, as it were? I don't know. I'm excited to find out. So let me draw something and then we'll get right into the episode. Keep this pretty quick here in the beginning. Okay. Honestly, I'm probably just going to draw a mess here. I'm not trying to draw anything in particular. I'm just going to play with color and shape a little bit and these brush pens that I've been enjoying fucking around with, okay? Not happy that that's streaky, but it's running out of ink, so it is what it is. That's fun. I don't know what the hell it is. It's just shapes, but that's fun. Kind of like Aquafresh, like somebody squeezed a bunch of Aquafresh out into a pile. The reason I did this was because of all the green and red contrast in the previous episode and how interesting it is when you put those right next to each other or even overlap them sometimes. I thought about utilizing the like effect that happens when you blend them, but I wasn't really sure how to in this circumstance. Maybe sometime in the future I'll try to figure something out with that, with like shading over and using one of these colors as shadow, because I've seen some like Instagram posts or I guess they were YouTube shorts of people shading with this sort of a color scheme and using the sort of blue as darkness, and it like doesn't click for me until the image is complete at all, and so I'm trying to wrap my head around how it all works. Anyway, this was one piece of effort in that direction. Kind of weird. Kind of reminds me of like it reminds me of some of the indigenous art from First Peoples of like Canada and Northern America. Like the Coast Salish people have this really interesting sort of blocky art style, and something about this reminds me of something about that, but I can't pinpoint it. Anyway, I'm ready for some courtroom drama. I'm ready for some trial. I'm ready for some true, fake, true crime. I'm ready for Higuruma to show his stuff and just find out exactly how crazy he really is at this point. One of the things that stood out to me from discussions and comments and stuff on the previous episode that I didn't understand or pick up on is this idea that the bathtub is full of blood, and when we see it in black and white, it just looks like it's water, and then when we illuminate it with red, he's bathing in a tub full of blood. Ah! I don't actually know if that's true. It's just like the vibe of it that's given off by the redness. And that's scary, and it indicates that he has lost something. Maybe that sanity piece. Maybe that, internal compass toward justice piece. I'm not sure, but he's a real spooky dude at this point, and I think he's got to stand. I know it's a curse and power and ability and stuff, but he's got to stand. That's a stand. That seems perfectly positioned to steal all of Yuji's powers, put him in a circumstance where he's powerless, and then use like logic and judgment to kill him, to absolutely eliminate that shit. How will Yuji get out of it or convince Higuruma that he is a good guy and doesn't deserve a guilty verdict? Hopefully better than I did at the in the intro of this video. Let's watch episode it's episode 56, which makes it JJK Season 3, Episode 9. Let's watch it. I've got it up and ready to go. There'll be 2 versions, picture-in-picture in the description, timer on YouTube, early access on the Patreon, and a BB timer to count you down. Let's go. Damn, everybody gets to do something badass, and Chosu just does somersaults in the middle of a room. Somebody commented saying that they thought that the bomb was metaphorical. The way that Reggie said it last episode, I feel like it's literal. I feel like he's literally going to drop a literal bomb. We still haven't met that guy. That's sad. We just met him, like, for a second, and then we haven't returned to him. Part 3. Oh, we're just starting. Good. Thank God. Unfortunately, it's not green and red. No, you won't. Oh, it's different. It's super different. Almost shafty. Of course they are. Of course they are. This is a trial, bro. Ah, Judgement. That's my name. Oh shit, it's literally any crime and it already knows. Well. Shinpai suruna. Oh, so the stand has all the info. Oh, and he gets presented some evidence. That's bad. Uh-huh, so it just presents a random portion of the evidence. And we'll weigh them against each other? Is that his only crime? Yes, he is. He's switched roles completely. I didn't think of that. They just had sure hit. Okay. Yeah, it's a sports ring. Yeah, it's a game. It made it harder, made it more difficult. Which makes sense because everybody else is doing the sure kill, so you have to domain expand to prevent them from domain expanding. But if he doesn't know any of that, yeah, unless you get found guilty, then I think the guillotines come into play, my guy. Yes, clearly. Oh boy. Okay. Wow, it's just 1 and 1. No rebut the rebuttal. No recross. No. Okay. Ah. Fair punishment for the crime? Ah. What an interesting perspective on his own justice system. You are actively allowed to lie. Right. The punishment. Oh, okay, okay. Right. So what does it prove? It might prove that he was there. Right, I just walked past. I didn't actually gamble. Then you're guilty, and you have to lie in a way that something. I think the only sentence is death. That's what I'm worried about. Okay, what's in the evidence? I'm nervous. The Dewa. God, the intricacy. Fuck. So you definitely exchanged cash at the cash exchange. No, it just means he was standing there. He was just asking them where the bathroom was. Fuck. Shit. Shit. I was just asking the cash. They're the only people I could find. No. What's the punishment? Because this is not the only crime that Yuji's going to be accused of, is it? Oh, that's right. But this is a setup for the next trial. Ah, shit. Oh, because you never get money from pachinko. Because all he went to was the cash exchange. Okay, he bangs on Judgement. Oh, confiscation? Confiscation of what? His spiritual energy? Oh shit, he's attacking. Okay. I think it stole his powers. Yeah. But it can't take whatever his, like, heavenly restriction or whatever makes him, his body. That's what I thought. It stole his fucking powers. Is that why he was so interested in seeing the, like, stripped of their ability thing? Because it's different from what he's doing. Whoa. Okay, we're back to background on him. Cool. Yeah, fair enough. Oh, he's keeping up. Oh my god. This back and forth is insane. Oh my god. Oh my goodness, the snap, snap, pop, pop. It reminds me of clap claps. He's keeping up. Oh, long, 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 long. You can't get away. That was fucking sick. What can I say? The super speed shit, that's insane. Uh-huh. Hmm. It's usually confiscation and death. Yeah. Yeah, he's got something else. He really understands. This little sneaking. Whoa, that was really similar to Maki movements. God, that's some bullshit. That's some real serious bullshit, Higuruma. Whee! Goom! Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. You're outside of the trial space now. It already did the thing. Objection. Appeal. Appeal? That's it. Oh, instantly. Whoa. So the domain is essentially still active. Oh, so don't confess. Wow. It still plays by the rules, huh? Fuck. I knew it! It doesn't have to be the same goddamn trial. That's unexpected. But the verdict should be not guilty. Oh shit. Well, I got my answer. He's not gonna fight back, is he? He's not gonna even fight back, is he? Oh, so he was at a fork in the road, huh? Oh. Whoa. I think Yuji's not gonna move. No, he is. That's bad. Oh. Yeah. Disgusted by their weakness. Oh. And you as well, then. Hmm. Huh. That impurity is something to be cherished. So he knows it's not right. He knows it's not right. He let the sword go. He let it go. He chose. He judged instead of giving it over to the system. Higuruma chose. And he was, exactly. So Higuruma tells him, "You're not guilty." That's our frame here. You're not responsible for what happened. Yeah. But the system will. So he gets to play his role as a genuine defender of the innocent from someone who is innocent but believes themselves guilty, as opposed to the opposite. And it's worth cherishing. It's human. It's human. Holy shit. Holy shit! Yeah, let's have a little chat. I'm trying to remember, actually. It's the first thing that comes up. Oh, the transfigured humans. And the, one of the Cursed Womb death paintings. Interesting. That's tough. He does blame himself and believe that's true about the transfigured humans. That's fucked. Because I was thinking, I'm like, I don't remember him killing a human outright. But the Death Womb paintings are his siblings, kind of. That was a cool set of ideas, guys. That was a cool set of ideas over the course of this episode. There's a portion of it where I got lost, or I just didn't understand where we were going with it. Then it all tied back together, and that's dope. Oh, there's a minute left. Wow. Yeah, we got a lawyer writing the rule. Okay. Thanks. Yeah. Wait, actually, hold on. Maybe we should hang out, dude. He's so... Ugh. Oh. Oh. I might end up hating myself more. Is it because of how Yuji's actions and strength of character reflects on his own? Oh man, we're gonna do the Reggie thing. Oh, we're gonna meet him! We're finally gonna meet the goofy guy and we're gonna fight Reggie and it's gonna be a Megami episode. Okay. I think this was pretty fucking cool. I think this was pretty fucking cool. I think it checked all the boxes. I will admit wholeheartedly that there's a section of like 3 minutes in like the mid-end portion where I didn't really know where we were going with it, and then it all locked back together, and suddenly I knew where we were going with it, and it turned out excellently. I think this is pretty perfect. It does come around to a focus on Yuji's great crime and his own vision of guilt of it, his version of events. And in the framework of this kind of omniscient judgment ability, we get to ask and answer the question, is Yuji actually guilty of that crime? And Higuruma, acting as prosecutor, says no. Goes against the system and takes agency into his own hands, right? In the same way, he says, I return to my roots, in the same way that he would fight against the system's like 99.99% conviction rate and try to do the right thing, even if the scales of justice were about to fall on somebody, even if the executioner's sword is meant to hang over this person's head. Higuruma was the one who put himself in the position of choosing instead to fight against that. And he hasn't been doing that until he steps into that role once more in order to attack Yuji and decides, he actually chooses. That line at the end, if I stay around you, I might hate myself more, is interesting. It indicates to me that maybe he's like experiencing the reflection of Yuji's actions and Yuji's purity in weakness almost. And how that reflects on him and makes him ashamed, I think. Interesting. And we find that the first acts that he did, the first kills that he made, were the prosecutor and the judge who caused that. And that's when he awakened his stand, right? Or I keep calling it a stand. I know that it's not actually a stand, but I can't help it. My brain is like, hail to you! And yeah. Okay. Holy shit. This is cool. It sort of ramps up in a cool way. We reached such incredible... I'm going to go back one episode. We reached such incredible peaks right at the end here with all the red, green, incredible slow-mo and all the dynamic angles around this thing, and then the reveal of Judgement. It's like stuff is flaring and flying and lights are flashing. It's just insanity. And then we open up in a much gentler sort of place using this blue light, and there's still stuff moving around. There's still interesting stuff. We get a totally different vision of the emergence of the stand. It's cool. It's just a different artistic vision. A totally different view of this domain expansion. And then there are some really recognizable scenes. Yuji running and going super fast here. And then Yuji running a little bit later and going super fast, along with the... It's all very familiar, and I'm wondering if I should be like obviously jumping to know exactly who is doing those things, and my brain is not coming up with the name. I know it's one of the cloud of people that we talk about all the time. I don't know if it's Watanabe, but it's like Watanabe or Waylon or just one of those people. We'll find out in a moment. I do want to just look at some of the cuts first. Even beyond the cuts themselves, I was really struck by the flow of cuts, which I guess is storyboard level stuff. By the way that the episode is pieced together, it feels very interesting and like tumbling down a hill until we sort of like stop and catch some airtime during the trial portion, and then we get out of the trial portion and all that momentum that we had built up reconnects and we're just tumbling. But it sort of all builds up to here and then stops. Hey, whoa, no violence in the courtroom, my guy. I love the little, like, teleportation moments. They're a little disorienting. There's one right here where, punching, and then Yuji drops into the thing, but he's, like, 30 feet away from Higuruma now. Pop, boop, gone. It's just cool, disorienting, loss of control, Pretty simple spaced compared to the insane, I don't know, moving shit that we got when it actually emerged the first time. Pretty straightforward, and he gets accused of a very minor crime. So interesting. I wonder, like, how Judgement or Judge Man decides which crime you're going to be on trial for at a given time. It just chooses one from your background at random. But it's not what I expected. It's the Miyagi Prefecture Maji Vegas gambling parlor. And the answer to this is something that I really should have known. Gambling's fully illegal. You can't gamble for prizes. You can only gamble for like tokens or pachinko balls or whatever they are. And you have to go to a separate establishment owned by the same people and exchange them for prizes that you then take and exchange those for cash, right? You're like getting a teddy bear and then selling the teddy bear back to the not the same establishment, but the one next door. So that would have been the way to jump out of it. Fucking interesting. I love the little shot of him unwinding the evidence. I really like that. There is no guarantee that this will prove the charges, and I will not tell you what it is. So it ends up being like a really dangerous game, yeah? And kind of exactly what I sort of wanted, which was like a mental game. Ah! I just realized that we faded into letterbox, which is a very strange feeling. If you just look at the bottom and top of the screen, it's like a very strange feeling. I don't know that I've ever seen a fade between like normal full frame and letterbox. Very weird. The whole domains common thing is awesome, and the way that it folds into Higuruma's genius, which is then like, it's got foundations in his law practice stuff, and then we build it as he's thinking about the way that the sorceress powers are interacting, and we realize he already knows more than we did, like halfway through season 1, maybe even more than that. It's awesome. So the bar has raised, it's a more advanced skill. A good portion of the episode is just laying out the rules, and that stuff's not terribly exciting, but it's absolutely necessary as foundations for all of the interesting stuff, Silence, confession, or denial, and your denial may include false statements, but if they're disproved by the evidence, is bad. These angles, we've switched them a little bit. there were a lot of like upward angle shots of Higuruma. There were some from this and him going like this and things like that, but now we're really sort of stretching his eyes out. So he's got these big, deep whites under the eyes. He's like it's really interesting. It's got a lot of, I don't know. I was gonna say a lot of emotion, but that's not quite right. It's got a lot of character to it. But what could be in the evidence? This is cool. This is kind of exactly what I wanted, was this kind of mental game. And this is exactly when I probably would have lied. I wasn't going there for that. I just went in for some other reason. I did go, but only to poop. Okay, unwind. The little regrab, the regrab. Ah! It's cool. And here you are at the cash exchange. Ah, damn. I like that. That's really simple. I just missed it. Oh, since he's admitted to entering the premise and it starts to rotate and go off kilter a little bit, like we're all tipping. The scales of justice are tipping in Higuruma's favor. That's fun. Verdict, confiscation, and then it snaps to red. Boom, and the fight is on. Oh, macaroni. Okay, I want to track some of the hammer moves, in part because they're freaking awesome and really deeply creative, from extending it to turning it larger to throwing dozens of them and having them appear back in his hand as soon as they've been thrown. It's just like every really interesting way to use this weapon, I think, has been used over the course of the episode, and it's just a few minutes of fighting. So much creativity, so much effort, and so much cool animation to make it all land. And beyond that, his physical form is imposing. His movement patterns are, and throughout it, we're saying like how precise and careful and genius a lawyer he is and all of these things. And it feels like those are exhibited in his physical form as well. He takes these like big broad steps. He's got these big lunges and big angular movements. And then the scene that I think of that really stands out to me is when he's like rushing around, bash, 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 and it's like 8 bashes in the matter of a couple of frames, and Yuji's dodging them all and running away. There are a couple of sequences like that. It just accelerates over the course of this fight. Boom. And the visuals demonstrate to us like exactly how his power works quickly, and then he enlarges it and brings it in. Big speed lines, really reminiscent of the big bonk hammer sequence, of course. Clink, including the hold and then the fling. Ouchie. Didn't expect you to be so tough. And it's still tilting his direction. Yikes. Every challenge on his first try. You 100%, 100%. Oh, okay. Up through the hard questions, a little lower, but way higher than the overall or average. He's kicking ass. Yet his brightest gem was his talent as a sorcerer. So that is some crazy hand to hand. Pop, pop, pop. Pop. Oh, he ducks. He fully spins around him to bring it back around this way, and then he's gonna block it. Pop. I wonder if this is the same person who was responsible for Thwack. It's got some similarities, but I don't know. And then we get these spins in hand, and there are a bunch of them, and then flings. Look at that misshapen object. Look at that thing. And then he chucks it back. It does die. It's his. It's his. You can't throw it at him. Whoa. How do we do that? Fling. Cut. Is there another cut here? Yeah, there is. Oh. Yeah, why is that there? Bam. Oh, because it's gonna go around him like that. Whoa. Okay. And then pop back into his hand. Woof. Whoa. That's a really cool transition. Everything gets fuzzy enough. to go here. And then emerge out and clarify. Wow! It doesn't feel like Watanabe, but that's so smooth. And it's got some of that slidiness to it. I don't know, it could be. It could be a mix of people. That's kind of the feeling that I'm getting, is that this is a big mix of a bunch of animators. Look at these smears, too. They remind me of Watanabe and Genta Ishimori's smears. But I have no idea who they are. I'm looking forward to finding out. We're going to find out in just a sec. This is the sequence that really stood out to me. Because there's something about the way that he continues charging forward, bam, 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 bam. It reminds me of something else, like a kung fu movie. There are actually a couple of scenes that remind me of specific moments in a kung fu movie. That one, I think it's a guy with a chain. Like a piece of chain, he's going bam, 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 bam. What am I thinking of? I'm not gonna be able to think of it. That's fine. There's another one when he extends the length of the thing and then sort of swipes it at Yuji, and then Yuji does this like it's like a spiral kip up sort of. It reminds me a lot of a kung fu movie that I've seen and again can't place. Oh man, that's fucking chaos. He feels like he is always right behind him. And up through for an insane knee with 2 cuts for it, right? Hup, hup, and then third one, hup. Okay, bam, bam, fling. Running forward, jumping knee connects, and Yuji flies backward. And then we're just back straight into it. It just keeps going. He's flinging. Holy shit. All the shadows on every piece of their clothing throughout all of this create more dynamism and more character. Holy shit. Watching this through slower, it is even more impressive. Look how dynamic this is. From here, all the way back here, all the way up here, all the way up through past camera. Boom, and then we catch it for this follow shot. Oh my god. Yuji slides his way under. He expands the thing to smash it down between his legs. We do this insane run, smash. Gagoom. Okay, and then this moment is the one that I'm like, okay, I've seen this somewhere. He whips the thing, it flips around, and Yuji does this spinning kip up. And then it's just... This portion reminds me a lot of the Maki fight. We've got the hyperspeed throwing things, which is very similar to Naoya throwing... Or is it Chosa throwing things? I think it might be Chosa throwing things, and Naoya's fighting against them. Anyway, it's a Watanabe cut, which makes me think that this... Actually, you know what? Hold on. This goes so Kaganashi at the end. It goes... It's all the same, and then it's not, and that's Watanabe, isn't it? Like, it's not anybody else, is it? I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. Let me get this hyperspeed insane. What the fuck, man? The conversation around confiscation as Yuji is sneaking. It's really cool. Sneak. It's just like an old cartoon. And then this little flourish. Super smooth, super slow. Really similar to Maki. He's freaking OP. He's absolutely OP. And then springboarding himself. I love it. I think it's so creative. There are so many fun ways that this gets used. Bonk. And then he figures it out. Retrial, but it is not for the same crime. Accused of mass murder in Shibuya. And Yuji's response is flat. Yeah. He's guilty. He views himself 100% as guilty. And this is the beauty of the writing here. I think it's incredibly clever to put Yuji in a position where he admits his own guilt, and the prosecutor is the one who has to say, actually, the evidence doesn't match up that way. You believe you killed these people, but it's clear that you didn't. He ends up being forgiven by admitting his guilt. Yeah? Beyond that, being told that he's not actually responsible by somebody who knows. Will it actually land for Yuji? Will it change his mind, like, really deeply? I don't know. I don't think so. But it's a start. This is the shock of the episode. And also the exact expectation. Yeah, I killed them. I did that. I won't deny it. And Higuruma is shocked, in part because he's seen the evidence, right? And he knows it's not true. Judgement, I thought, was going to come in and do the evidence, but Judgement is the system, right? The system doesn't choose. It doesn't have a choice. It doesn't care about extenuating circumstances. It doesn't work that way. Scary. Fucked up. Fucked up scary. I don't understand this portion. Why doesn't he want to be a judge? Okay, he presents his answer about the judge thing and his mental state here. To empathize with someone is to understand their weakness, to understand the weakness of the victims, and to understand the weakness of the criminals. Day after day after day, I was so fed up. Every time I tried to reach out to people, I would think, how ugly. Became disillusioned, not just with the system, but with people themselves, the people he was trying to protect. And then we get this outraged, you are no exception. No one is an exception. All people are weak and ugly, no matter how noble you wish to be. There's nothing down that path. And he's saying this to himself too, right? Having wasted so much time going down that path of nobility. You can't accept yourself from that evil. Even if you shine a light into the darkness before you is just that darkness. So this is the argument against anyone who tries to improve the world, yeah? How can you improve the world? You're a character of darkness. All people are weak and ugly. All that can ever come out of their attempts at nobility is more weakness and more ugliness, painted over with a thin veneer. The light doesn't cast very far into the darkness overwhelms it. And he's speaking to his own, choices and his own regret having failed on that path, having gone down that path over and over and over, day after day after day, and then finally come to the conclusion that it's all weakness and ugliness. You'll still be left with a blinding void. Great lines. Great imagery. And Yuji runs forward and does his little twisty jump. I won't become a judge. And we only get the answer inside his mind. May I ask why not? All people are weak and ugly. I'm not cut out for it since I'm not interested in promotions. Is that why, though? But at least up until that point, I believed that very impurity, so uniquely human, was something to be cherished. All people are weak and ugly. But at some point, he thought that was of value, something human. So why did you admit guilt? We get this incredible fucking stage sequence. Look at this. With all the 3D chairs up in the air. You didn't kill them. And his rage turns to something else here. And Yuji's eyes are clear and straightforward. So why? Why would you admit your guilt? He's grimacing against himself, and he lets it go. Foop. Yuji still lands the punch. And then he outlines it. It's in the law. If you were deprived over control of your actions, You cannot be held responsible. You weren't in control of your body. It was him. You're innocent. You've committed no crime. And Yuji's answer is still, it's my fault. Because I was too weak. Without ever hearing Higuruma's thoughts, sort of mirroring them perfectly. Because that weakness is human, right? It's that same thing that he used to cherish once. It's that weakness that makes people worth protecting. I returned to my roots. There may still be plenty of people with weakness like yours, which to me reads as people who need to be protected. Yeah? People who are still human, whose weakness actually makes them stronger. It's not ugliness. I'm not sure. Yes, he says, I have killed someone of my own volition. I looked that up, and yes, it did feel awful. He agrees. He puts the rule, and off he goes to think, and maybe to turn himself in. If he survives. Maybe this will be the last that we'll see of Higuruma. I hope not. I kind of like him, as dangerous as he is. I really like him. There's something about a character that believes they are following principles, even if those principles get twisted, that I find very compelling. And there's something about someone who's following twisted principles, who realizes that there's something wrong about the path that they're on and changes course, that's triply interesting, yeah? It comes as an answer to our questions about guilt, shame, remorse, regret. What if you change your course? Yeah? You might have done a bunch of things that are bad, and you can still change your course. That's what I think this is. I think this is Higuruma changing course because he sees something that he can't quite compute in his logic, in his worldview. He sees that something in Itadori. Judgement says guilty, but the executioner refuses to swing the sword. It's injustice. Okay, let's figure out who did the animation. And also, let's figure out who storyboarded this boy. Okay, it's Goso on the storyboard, episode director Teppei Okuda, with CADs Yajima, Niwa, and Noda. Awesome. Buru, Sakuga, Buru. Ooh, I see Gabriel Ugbodaga, who did like some of the hand-to-hand in a previous sequence. I see Josh Aguilar, who I was impressed by in the previous episode, I think. I see Yuki Kikuchi. That's interesting. Is that all the chairs flying and stuff? And I see the top cut of the episode is Neon41, who I don't really recognize. And then the second top cut is Daniel Kim, who I do recognize, but not in my brain space. Okay, I'm going to pull them all. Oh, I didn't pull it up. Bing. Okay. This is Duong for little guy and a little bit of walking. Okay. This is Kikuchi. Oh, this is mostly them standing across from each other and not much action to it. Okay. This is the Unwind. This is Artist Unknown and Who Am I? Who Am I might be... Is that actually a person? Yes, it is. Okay. This is the Artist Unknown. Oh, this is the Sneak. Sneak. I really like the little sneak loop. It feels very old cartoony. Okuda, at least first cut. Ooh. And we square off and his facial expressions. Let me check out Okuda. Oh, this has way too many people on it. Ew. This portion. Yeah, okay. That's too many people. Okay, next one is Duong. It's for the walking and the sitting in the chairs. Cool. This is Under the Hammer when he figures it out. First 2 seconds are Haga, and the rest is sort of unknown. Cool. Here we are on trial. And this is the moment when he actually admits the guilt. Striking scenes, but not crazy in animation terms. Sangyun Song. The emergence of the domain. Pretty crazy. Josh Aguilar. His part ends with the still just after this post. Okay. Oh, this is the first rush. Okay. This is a cool sequence. Bam. But it doesn't contain any of the wham bam 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 hyperspeed stuff that I'm really interested in. Oh, this also includes O'Brien Benny and Yoons. This is 3 animators working. We've got Gabriel for the growth and the spin. And then we're pulling it down with Yoon. And then O'Brien is doing this run and slide, and then we're back to Yoon for the big movement. Okay, cool. Zalmon. Oh, the domain expansion. Yeah, okay. I don't know Zalmon at all. I thought that this was one of our hyper-recognizable animators, and I'm wrong. Cool. Haojun Zhao. Okay. Oh, this is Yuji's rush and leap, and then the big explosion of chairs. Cool. This is flying through the big explosion of chairs and going sort of 3D with it, attacking this. Yeah, and our big build up to this moment with all the spotlights. Bam, 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 bam. Cool. Land in here. Watanabe style on the water. Amazing physics. Yeah. Yeah. I'm incredibly surprised. This is Medi Bengodifa. Has worked a bunch on One Piece, and it looks like almost nothing else. Ooh, I see Genga. Genga. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Okay, Daniel Kim. Big cringing face. Big setup. And then the swoosh. Some great expressions in the midst of combat here. Okay, and this is Neon 41. The Neon 41 was animating on Jujutsu Kaisen. Huh? Who? Wait, sorry, what? Did I know you from somewhere? Oh, not order scroll. Order score. Oh, Chao Nang Li Fan Chao Fan Pian. Sorry, any Chinese viewers, I know that I got that wrong. He's a wuxia Chinese shows. I wonder what Chao Nang Li Fang, I shouldn't be watching this, actually means, because I probably know it by that name. It's Super Cube. I've never heard of that. Okay. So it looks like Chinese animation. Completely different. Wonderful scene, incredible work. Yeah, people mentioning that they feel like it's too fast-paced, so you lose portions of it. I think that there's something fair to be said about that. I do think that there is a bit of a loss of continuity sometimes, but sometimes that chaos, just like with some of Watanabe's cuts, can be exactly what I want in moment. And for much of it, I feel like this all like lands. It all lands really well, and there are these little accent moments like him adjusting his tie as the hammer comes back and stuff like that I think make it all glue together. I think it's followable. And then we get this bash 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 sequence, and that's just it's so crisp. I do feel like moments like this are a little bit strangely planned. So we watched this knee a few times, and it feels a little jerky to me. It's because of the sort of cut that we do over the course of it. It feels like we cut back over the course of the motion a couple of times instead of it being fluidly glued together. And usually when that technique is done by like re-including a few frames each time, it actually creates more continuity. But this time it does make it feel a little bit more jerky, a little bit less continuity-esque. But then you've got stuff like being able to track the hammer as it bounces and returns to him as he's flinging these hammers and making these attack sequences. And like, I think they're great. I think they're spectacular. So all of this, all the super speed and the sort of Watanabe style flinging, throwing stuff, blam, 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 it's all one dude. And it's not one of our previous animators at all. It's a unique. We got a super secret extra rare. We got an extra rare animator on this episode. That's fucking fun. I'm impressed. I'm also surprised that it's not Watanabe for some of those cuts. Like the water sequence where somebody was like, oh, that's really in his style. And especially this throwing movement portion, it reminds me so much of some of the Choso fight. Kind of cool to have those sort of similarities and ties together. Makes it so much harder to recognize animators, though, in a really cool way. Whenever I see stuff like this and get it wrong, as I'm looking at a sequence of cuts, I'm like, oh, that's gotta be Watanabe. Oh shit, that's gotta be that's gotta be Genta Ishimori. And I'm like, end up being completely wrong. It makes me want to run or create. I've been thinking about this for a little while. A YouTube game show built around recognizing animators, and I haven't been able to figure out how it would logistically work. But I would love to bring other reactors or like anime tubers on and show them clips of cool animation and have them try to match it up to the animator. I'm trying to figure out what kind of format would work so that somebody who has never seen animation by that animator can still have a chance of getting the questions right based on the recognition that they accumulate over the course of the game show. Does that make sense? So like choose 3 distinct animators and a bunch of cuts from them and throw them together and show them to somebody and talk about the style of animation that's being used and what differentiates these people from each other and the work that they're doing. It'd be really cool to have distinct stylistic individuals who are working on the same shows. That would be really fucking cool. Um, just stuff to make it interesting and challenging. And my whole like idea or goal behind this would be to increase recognition toward animators and name recognition and do sort of, it's weird to say, but I've been fascinated for a while by how esports has turned it's a strange place to take it, how esports has turned the individual stories of the players into a core part of the viewing experience. Like knowing those players and caring about them is critical. And I've been wondering whether something similar could be done for animators, for creative individuals, and if they could be brought more to the forefront and almost turned into mini celebrities based on their work output, based on their styles, things that really outside of the focused Sakuga community, a lot of people don't know about. But I think a lot of people do and would care, and especially in the face of, AI art stuff and the way that artists are treated, I think it would be potentially a really good thing to associate animators' names with their work more effectively in a more like popularly facing format. I don't know how that would actually work or whether I'm the guy to do it, but it's an idea that's been spinning around in my brain, and I can't help but think that it would be really cool. I don't know. If that sounds interesting to you and you've got any thoughts about it, I'd love to hear about them in the comments. In any case, what a fight discussion. What a conversation. The best fights, according to Super Eye Patch Wolf, are conversations, dialogues, debates about something. And this one is that not only in name and in being like a legal proceeding, but it really is a fight that is built around the ideas, built around the guilt of the characters, and the idea of justice that Higuruma is pursuing. And then even going deeper to those foundations of justice. Why does it matter? Why does it matter that the right thing is done? Why does it matter that people who are guilty are punished? What is it about people that makes them worth punishing and worth protecting? And it seems like Higuruma's answer is and was their weakness, but his attitude toward that weakness shifted over time, and then faced with Yuji, shifted back. Now, I hope, stronger than it was before. Pretty darn cool. There's a lot here that I don't think that I've got nailed down perfectly, so I really look forward to your input in the comments about what you think Higuruma is talking about and how you've associated this with your own ideas, if that makes sense. What do you think he means by this ugliness and weakness and his own, like, return to understanding it? I'm not sure. Maybe you are. Let me know in the comments. And with that, I will say thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Jujutsu Kaisen with me. I look forward to jumping into the next one, getting the other side of the split path fight, and seeing what we can do. Maybe we won't end up fighting. Maybe we'll end up just talking with Reggie. I don't think so. I think he and that girl are a little Remy are a little creepy. But we're gonna have to watch the next episode to find out next time. What was I about to say? Thanks so much for watching. Much love. Peace.